The year was 2047. Humans had spread across the stars for more than 200 years. They built cities on red deserts, glass domes under ice moons, and floating stations in gas giant rings. Earth was still home, but most people now lived on other worlds. They called themselves one people, no matter where they came from. That unity had kept them alive through hard times. John Smith stood on the observation deck of the station called Harmony Point. It floated above Epsilon Prime, a green and blue world chosen as neutral ground. John was 42 years old, tall, with short brown hair and calm blue eyes. He wore the simple gray uniform of Earth's diplomatic service. He did not like fancy clothes. Today, he needed to speak for all humans. Below him, ships from many species waited in orbit. Inside, the insect-like Krell had sharp mandibles and 6 legs. Their ships looked like black beetles with glowing red eyes. The Vorath were different. They were tall crystals that moved on thin legs of light. Their ships shimmered like broken glass catching the sun. Both groups had come to talk. Both wanted the same thing: to slow humans down. John turned as the door opened. Captain Robert Johnson walked in. Robert was younger, 38, with black hair cut very short, and a strong build from years on ships. He commanded the battle cruiser Endurance, the strongest ship humans had built so far. He gave John a small nod. "Are they ready?" John asked. Robert crossed his arms. "They are, but they brought more guards than agreed. The Krell even have their sting launchers powered up." John sighed. "They always do that. They think it makes them look strong." Robert looked out at the stars. "We can match strength if it comes to that, but you know what they really want." John knew. The aliens feared how fast humans grew. In only 50 years, humans had settled 23 systems. They mined asteroids, built factories, raised families, and kept exploring. The aliens said it broke old rules of the galaxy. They called it unbalanced expansion. They wanted humans to stop building warships, stop claiming new worlds, and pay tribute in rare metals and energy crystals. John shook his head. "We will not pay. We will not stop." The meeting hall was large and round. A long table stood in the center. Seats floated a few inches above the floor, so everyone could be at the same height. Humans sat on one side. Aliens sat on the other. The Krell leader spoke first. His name was Clickvor. His voice came through a translator box and sounded like dry leaves rubbing together. "Humans move too fast," Clickvor said. "You take worlds that belong to no one, but soon they will belong to many. You build weapons that can reach across systems. This must end. You will limit your fleets to 10 ships of war. You will give us 1 ton of refined iridium each year. You will not settle beyond the Orion Arm." John listened without changing his face. When Clickvor finished, John stood up slowly. "We hear your words," John said in a clear voice, "but we do not agree. Every world we settled was empty. We did not take from anyone. Our ships protect our people, not attack others. We will not limit our growth. We will not pay tribute. Humans decide their own path." A low buzz came from the Krell side. The Vorath crystals flashed bright blue, which meant anger. A Vorath named Lyra Sen spoke next. Her voice was like wind through glass chimes. "You speak of freedom," she said, "but freedom without control brings chaos. The galaxy has rules for a reason. Your kind ignores them. If you do not accept our terms, we will act to protect balance." John met her glowing center without blinking. "If you act against us, we will defend ourselves. That is our rule." Everyone waited. Then a new voice spoke from the human side. It was William Brown. He was a governor from a mining colony called New Haven. William was short, with gray hair and nervous eyes. He had come to the summit as an observer, but now he stood up. "Wait," William said. "Not all humans think the same. Some of us see reason in the alien offer. John turned to look at him. Robert's hand moved closer to the pistol at his side. William continued. Our colonies struggle. Resources are thin. The tribute they ask is small compared to war. Maybe we should talk more. Maybe some limits are good. Murmurs spread among the human group. Most shook their heads. A few looked unsure. Clickvor tilted his head. Interesting. So humans are not one mind. John spoke firmly. We are one when it matters. Governor Brown speaks only for himself. William's face turned red. I speak for many who are tired of fighting. I have friends among the colonies who agree. After the words, the summit ended without agreement. The aliens left first. Their ships moved away slowly, like they wanted humans to watch. John and Robert walked back to the shuttle bay together. That was bold, Robert said. You basically told them no and walked away. John smiled a little. They expected us to beg. We did not. Robert looked serious. William Brown worries me. He has friends in high places. Some governors want easier lives. They talk about deals in secret. John nodded. I know. I have heard whispers. A few people think they can gain power by helping the aliens. They call it smart politics. Robert stopped walking. If they cross the line, what happens? John looked out a window at the stars. History has an answer. Those who turn against their own kind do not last long. They disappear. Robert raised an eyebrow. Disappear? Not killed. Not captured. Just gone. No trace. It has happened before. On old Earth, during hard wars. On Mars, when colonies broke away. On Alpha Centauri, when traitors sold secrets. The ones who betrayed mankind vanished. No one knows how, but it always happens. Robert thought about it. You think it's us? Some secret group? John shook his head. I don't know. Maybe it's something deeper. Maybe humanity itself does not allow division, like a body that rejects bad cells. They reached the shuttle. Robert opened the door. Whatever it is, Robert said, I hope the Defiers feel it soon. Because if they help the aliens, war is coming. John stepped inside. War may come anyway, but we will face it together. That is what makes us strong. The shuttle doors closed. Harmony Point grew small behind them as they flew toward the Endurance. Far below, on Epsilon Prime's surface, William Brown met 3 other humans in a hidden room. They spoke in low voices. They exchanged data chips. They made plans. None of them noticed the air in the room felt colder than it should. None of them saw the small shadow that moved along the wall and then was gone. John Smith sat in his cabin later that night. He looked at a photo of his wife and son back on Earth. He thought about the words he had said. Those who define mankind disappear. He hoped it was true. 3 weeks passed after the summit on Harmony Point. The stars looked the same, but everything felt different. Ships moved faster between colonies. People talked in low voices. Everyone waited for something to happen. On New Haven Colony, a dry mining world with red dust and tall rock towers, Governor William Brown sat in his office. The room had thick metal walls and one small window that showed the orange sky. William looked tired. His gray hair stuck out in different directions. He had not slept well since he spoke against John Smith. He opened a hidden drawer and took out a small data chip. It held the codes for New Haven's defense grid, codes that could shut down shields and let alien ships land without warning. William had promised to give it to the Krell contact. In return, they said he would rule not just New Haven, but 3 more systems. Power, safety, no more hard choices. William stared at the chip. He thought about his daughter on Earth. She was only 12. Would she understand? He pushed the thought away and put the chip in his pocket. A soft knock came at the door. His aide, Charles Miller, stepped in. Charles was young, with a clean-shaven face and quick eyes. "Sir, the transport is ready. You're due on the surface shuttle in 10 minutes. William nodded. "Good. Tell no one where I'm going." Charles left. William stood up, smoothed his uniform, and walked to the private lift. It took him down to the underground hangar. A small shuttle waited there, engines already humming. The pilot was a quiet man named Henry Clark. Henry did not ask questions. The shuttle lifted off quietly. It flew low over the red plains, staying under radar. William looked out at the empty land. He felt a strange cold in his chest. They landed at an old mining shaft, far from the main town. No lights, no people, just silence and dust. Henry stayed at the controls. A Krell waited in the shadows. Click Vor's aid, smaller but still dangerous. Its mandibles clicked softly. "You have it?" the Krell asked through its translator. William held out the chip. "Here, as promised." The Krell took it with one claw. "Good. The others will follow. Your reward comes soon." William opened his mouth to ask when, but the words never came. The air around him changed. It grew thick like water, closing over his head. The Krell stepped back, confused. William's body started to shake. Not from fear, from something inside. His skin felt tight. His vision blurred at the edges. "What is this?" the Krell hissed. William tried to speak. Nothing came out. Then he was gone. One moment he stood there. The next, empty space. No sound, no flash, no body. Just dust settling where his feet had been. The Krell stared. Its mandibles opened wide. It turned and ran to its hidden ship. The ship lifted fast and vanished into the dark sky. Back on New Haven, Charles Miller waited in the governor's office. Hours passed. No word from William. Charles checked the trackers. The shuttle was still at the old shaft, but the life signs read 0. Charles called security. A team went out. They found the shuttle. Henry Clark sat inside, eyes wide, hands frozen on the controls. He looked like he had seen death itself. "Where is the governor?" the lead officer asked. Henry whispered. He walked out, met someone. Then, he just wasn't there anymore. They searched the shaft for days. No footprints, no blood, no sign of a fight. William Brown had disappeared. News spread fast, first to the other colonies, then to Earth. People read the reports and felt cold. Laura Johnson heard it first on her station near Proxima Centauri. She was Robert's younger sister, 34 years old, with the same black hair, but longer, tied back tight. Laura led the security division for the Outer Rim. She was good at finding things others missed. She sat in her office, screens glowing around her. Reports came in one after another. Another governor, Mary Davis from Greenbelt Colony, gone from her bedroom. Door locked from inside. Bed empty. A traitor named George Harris, who sold human weapons to the Vorath, vanished from his ship mid-flight. Crews said the cabin door never opened. A politician on Luna Base, Edward King, disappeared during a live speech. One second he stood at the podium. Next second, the camera showed only air. Laura leaned back. She rubbed her eyes. All of them had one thing in common, she said to her assistant. The assistant, a young woman named Amy White, nodded. They were all talking to aliens. Secret deals, leaked plans. Laura stood up. "Get me a line to my brother." Robert answered from the bridge of the Endurance. His face filled the screen. "You saw the reports?" "Yes," she said. "It's happening, just like John said." Robert looked grim. William Brown first, then the others. No bodies, no traces. Laura crossed her arms. "I pulled their messages. Encrypted, but I broke them. They were selling us out. Codes, maps, ship movements, all to the Krell and Vorath." Robert let out a slow breath. So they defied us, and now they're gone. Laura looked at him hard. You believe the stories? That humanity makes them disappear? Robert thought for a moment. I don't know how, but I know it's real. People are scared, but they're also angry. Angry at the traitors, angry at the aliens. The colonies are coming together. Ships are volunteering. Factories are running extra shifts. Laura smiled a small, fierce smile. Good, because the aliens think we're weak now. They think the vanishings mean we fight each other. Robert nodded. It'll make the surprise better when we hit back. On Earth, John Smith walked through a quiet park in New Washington. Trees grew tall under the dome. Children played on grass brought from old oceans. John wore plain clothes, no uniform today. People stopped to look at him. Some nodded, some whispered his name. He had become a face for defiance. An old man sat on a bench. John knew him, Frank Lewis, a retired fleet captain. Frank waved him over. Sit, John. John sat. You heard? Frank nodded. Everyone has. 5 gone so far. Maybe more we don't know about. John looked at the children. They sold us out for power, for comfort. Frank's voice was rough. And now they're nothing, not even graves. John stayed quiet for a while. I told them at the summit, those who defy mankind disappear. Frank turned to him. You think it's us doing it? Some Black Ops team? John shook his head. No teams, no orders. It just happens. Like the body knows when a cell is wrong and removes it. Frank looked up at the dome stars. Then maybe that's our strength. Not just ships or guns. Something deeper. John stood up. Maybe, but we still need the ships and the guns. He walked away. Behind him, Frank smiled. For the first time in years, he felt hope. Far out in space, on a Vorath crystal station, Lyra Sen floated in her chamber. Her light pulsed slow and worried. Reports came in from spies. 5 humans gone. No trace, no explanation. She sent a message to Clickvor. The humans are not breaking. They grow stronger. The vanishings, they frighten our agents more than us. Clickvor answered quickly. We must move soon, before more disappear. Lyra Sen dimmed her light. Yes, but be careful. Something watches them. Something we cannot see. On the Endurance, Robert stood on the bridge. Crew worked around him. Alarms stayed quiet for now. About John. About the empty places where traitors used to stand. He spoke softly, to no one. Whoever you are, keep going. We need you. Outside the viewports, stars burned bright and cold. The galaxy waited. The attack came without warning. One moment the outer colonies slept under quiet stars. The next, Krell warships dropped out of jump space like black knives. Their sting launchers fired bright green bolts that tore through shields and metal. Voroth crystal ships followed, beams of pure white light cutting deep into human stations. The first target was Outpost Delta 9, a small mining base on the edge of human space. Alarms screamed. Families ran to shelters. Workers grabbed weapons they had never hoped to use. But the Krell ships were fast. They landed troops, sharp-clawed soldiers in black armor. The Voroth sent floating drones that hummed like angry insects. Captain Robert Johnson watched it all, from the bridge of the Endurance. The big ship hung in orbit around a nearby gas giant, hidden by rings of ice and rock. Screens showed the battle in red and green flashes. They're hitting hard, Robert said. They think we're broken after the vanishings. His first officer, a woman named Karen Lee, nodded. Scans show 20 Krell cruisers, 15 Voroth shards. They outnumber us 3-1 here. Robert smiled thin. Numbers don't win wars. Unity does. He touched the comm panel. All ships, this is Captain Johnson. Form up on my mark. We strike the Krell first. Shields to full, weapons hot. Across the sector, human ships answered, not just Navy vessels, freighters with added guns, colony defense boats, even private yachts turned into fighters. People had heard the stories. They knew traitors were gone. They knew what waited if they lost. They came anyway. The Endurance moved first. It broke from the rings like a shark leaving cover. Its main cannon fired, a thick beam of blue plasma that punched through the lead Krell cruiser. The alien ship split open, spilling fire into space. Cheers rose on human bridges, but the fight was just starting. On the ground at Delta 9, Dr. Elizabeth Davis ran through smoke-filled halls. She was 40, with short red hair and steady hands. She had come to the outpost to test new shield tech, something small but powerful. Now she carried the prototype generator in a heavy case. "Keep moving," she shouted to the scientists behind her. "We get this to the main array." Explosions rocked the building. Krell soldiers broke through walls. Their claws clicked on metal floors. Elizabeth reached the control room. She slammed the case down and opened it. Inside was a silver sphere the size of a basketball. Wires connected to glowing blue panels. She worked fast. Fingers flew over controls. The sphere hummed. Light spread out in a wave. The outpost's failing shields suddenly grew stronger. Alien beams hit the new field and bounced back. Some even turned and struck the attackers' own ships. Elizabeth smiled. The reflector field works. Outside, a Vorath shard ship tried to land. Its white beam hit the shield. The energy twisted, bent, and shot straight back. The crystal ship cracked like glass under a hammer. Pieces floated away slow. Word spread through human channels. Delta 9 holds. New shields. Alien weapons turned against them. Robert heard it on the bridge. "Good work, Elizabeth. Now we push." The Endurance led a charge. 10 human ships followed in tight formation. They flew straight at the Krell line. Guns blazed. Missiles streaked. Krell ships tried to scatter, but humans were faster, sharper. They had trained for this. They had waited for this. In the middle of the battle, a Vorath envoy ship approached under white flag. It sent a tight beam message to the Endurance. Robert opened the channel. A tall crystal form appeared on screen. Lyra Sen. "Human," she said, voice like breaking ice. "Cease fire. We must speak." Robert kept his ship moving. "Speak fast." Lyra Sen pulsed brighter. "Your traitors vanish. Our spies among you vanish too. No trace. No weapon we know can do this. What do you hide? What erases life so clean?" Robert looked straight at her. "We hide nothing. You attacked us. You tried to buy our people. Now your buyers are gone. That's all." Lyra Sen dimmed. "Impossible. No race has such power without machines." Robert leaned closer to the screen. "Maybe it's not power. Maybe it's will. 8 billion humans linked by one simple rule. We do not betray our own. When someone tries, something removes them. Not us. Not a button. Just nature." The crystal flickered. "You lied to scare us." Robert shook his head. "I'm telling truth. Look around. Your spies are disappearing even now. Feel it." On her ship, Lyra Sen turned. 2 of her aides, humans who had joined the Vorath years ago, stood frozen. Then they were gone. Empty space where they had been. No sound. No mark. Lyra Sen pulsed in panic. "How?" Robert's voice stayed even. "Ask yourselves why no human has ever sold out and lived to enjoy it. The answer is the same." He closed the channel. "All ships, full attack. They break now." The battle turned fast. Human fleets pushed. Alien lines cracked. Krell cruisers pulled back. Vorath shards dimmed and fled. They had come to punish a divided people. They found one mind, one fist. Laura Johnson watched from her security station. Screens showed reports from every colony. More vanishings. A smuggler who carried Vorath tech. A colony leader who hid alien credits. A pilot who planned to defect mid-fight. All gone in the same silent way. She pulled up old files, ancient ones, from Earth's first colonies, from wars long past. She found notes about the Safeguard. Old scientists had seen it. Betrayers vanished when humanity faced real danger. Not killed by people, removed by something bigger. Laura sent the files to Elizabeth. Elizabeth read them in her lab on Delta 9. Smoke still rose outside. She sat quiet for a long time. "It's not tech," she whispered. "It's us. All of us. Connected, like a mind bigger than one person. When part turns bad, the whole rejects it." She looked at the silver sphere. It had saved lives today, but the real shield was older, deeper. She opened a channel to John Smith on Earth. John answered from this small office. His face looked tired, but strong. "Elizabeth, you held the line." She nodded. "We did, but it's more than shields. I think I know what erases them." John waited. "The Safeguard," she said. "Not a weapon. A shared human thing, born from thousands of years of survival. We learned early, divide and die. So something inside us, maybe in every mind, watches. When someone breaks the bond, it acts. Quiet. Final." John looked out his window at Earth. Lights glowed below. People lived normal lives. But they were linked. Always had been. "Then we don't need to fear it," he said. "We need to trust it." Elizabeth smiled. "Yes, and use it." Far away on a Krell command ship, Click Vor stared at empty chairs. 3 of his human contacts had vanished during the battle. His mandibles clicked in fear. He sent orders to retreat. "Pull back all forces. Regroup. Do not engage humans alone." The stars grew quiet again. Wreckage floated. Human ships stayed on guard. Robert stood on the bridge. He looked at the crew. They were tired. They were hurt. But they stood tall. He spoke to the ship. "Today we showed them. Humanity does not break. We bend, we fight. And when needed, we remove what weakens us." The crew nodded. No cheers. Just quiet agreement. In the silence of space, something watched. Not with eyes, not with machines. With the weight of billions of lives, joined as one. The war was not over. But the aliens knew now. Challenge mankind, and some among them would disappear. And the rest would stand stronger. Human ships chased the retreating aliens across 3 star systems. The Krell left burning hulks behind them. The Vorath shards cracked and drifted like broken ice. For the first time in many years, humans felt the taste of real victory. Not just holding ground, taking it back. Captain Robert Johnson stood on the bridge of the Endurance. The ship had new scars, black burns along the hull, missing sensor arrays, but it still flew strong. Robert watched the tactical map. Red dots for alien ships grew smaller. Green dots for human forces spread wider. "They're running," Karen Lee said from her station. "Full retreat. No counterattacks." Robert nodded once. "Good. Let them run. We have work closer to home." He turned to the comm officer. "Open a channel to all colony leaders. Priority 1. Screens lit up. Faces appeared. Governors, mayors, fleet commanders. Some looked tired from fighting. Some looked angry. All looked ready. Robert spoke clear and slow. "This is Captain Johnson. The enemy is broken. They thought we would fall apart. They were wrong. Now we finish this. Secure every system. Hunt the last spies. Protect our people. Stand together." Voices answered back. Together. Always. Simple words. Strong words. On Greenbelt Colony, Dr. Elizabeth Davis worked in a new lab built fast after the battle. The silver sphere sat on a table, connected to bigger machines. She studied it, but her mind was on something else. The vanishings had not stopped. They had grown faster. A young tech named Brian Hayes ran in. "Doctor, another one, just now. A supply officer on the outer moon. He was sending messages to a Krell relay, then gone." Elizabeth looked up. "Witnesses?" "3. They said he froze mid-sentence, then nothing. Chair empty, cup still warm." Elizabeth rubbed her forehead. "It's speeding up. During the war it was careful. Now it's cleaning house." Brian hesitated. "Do we stop it? Can we?" Elizabeth shook her head. "We don't control it. We never did. We just live with it." She walked to a window. Outside, green fields stretched under artificial suns. Families worked. Children played. Normal life. But under it all, something watched. Quiet. Patient. On Earth, John Smith stood before a large crowd in Unity Square. The dome above showed real stars. Thousands gathered. Workers, soldiers, students. They carried no signs. They needed none. John stepped to the simple platform. No fancy lights, just his voice through speakers. "Friends," he began. "The aliens came to divide us. They offered deals to the weak. They thought we would break. But look around. The ones who took those deals are gone. Not by our hands, not by guns or bombs, by something older, something inside every one of us." The crowd stayed quiet. They listened. John continued. "We are not perfect. We argue. We disagree. But when the line is crossed, when someone sells our future for their gain, humanity says no. It removes the threat. Silent. Final. That is our strength. Not just shits, not just science. Us. All of us together." A woman in the front row wiped her eyes. A soldier nodded slow. An old man raised his fist. John raised his hand. "Tomorrow we meet the aliens again. Not to beg. To end this. We offer peace. But only if they leave our space. Forever. If they refuse, we will remind them why no one has ever beaten us for long." The crowd answered with one voice. Not a cheer. A low, steady sound. Like a heartbeat. Far out, on a neutral station called Nexus, the final summit began. The hall was smaller this time. Fewer guards, more empty chairs. John Smith walked in first. Robert Johnson at his side. Elizabeth Davis behind them. Laura Johnson waited at the door, eyes sharp. Click Vor limped a little. His leg had been burned in the last fight. Lyra Sen pulsed dim, her light weaker than before. They sat across the table. No one spoke for a long minute. John broke the silence. "You came to limit us. You failed. Now we talk terms." Clickvor clicked his mandibles. "Your kind erases. Our agents, our contacts, gone. We lose them without reason, without fight. It is not natural." Lyra Sen added, "We fear what we cannot see. We fear what takes without trace." John looked at them steady. "You fear what you caused. You tried to turn us against each other. That never works. Not with humans." Robert leaned forward. "You have two choices. Leave our borders, never return with weapons, or keep fighting, and watch more of your spies disappear. And then your ships, and then your worlds." Clickvor hissed. "You threaten genocide." Robert shook his head. "No, we defend. The disappearances are not our choice. They are the cost of betrayal. Yours, and any who help you." A Vorath aide stepped forward. A human who had lived among them for years. His name was Paul Turner. He looked nervous, sweaty. "I can speak for many," Paul said. "Some humans still want peace your way. We can—" He stopped. His mouth opened. No sound came. His body stiffened. Everyone watched. Then Paul Turner was gone. The chair rocked once, then still. Clickvor stared. Lyra Sen dimmed almost to black. John spoke soft. "That is your answer. No more deals, no more spies. Withdraw, or the next one might be you. The aliens looked at the empty chair, then at the humans. HFY stood first. We agree. We leave, all forces pull back. Borders respected. Narration pulsed once, weak. We will not return, not in war. They left without another word. Their ships lifted from the station, slow at first, then fast, gone into the dark. John turned to Robert. It's over. Robert exhaled, for now. Elizabeth watched the door. The vanishings will slow, maybe stop, until the next time someone tries. Laura walked up. I checked the logs. Every defector gone during the summit. Clean. Perfect timing. John looked at his friends. We didn't do it, but it happened because we stood as one. They walked out together. The station felt lighter, quieter. Back on Earth, John sat alone in his home. Night had fallen under the dome. Stars shone clear. He thought about the years, the fights, the empty places. He whispered to the quiet room, "Thank you." No answer came. None was needed. In colonies across the stars, people returned to work. Ships patrolled peaceful lanes. Children learned history, the day the aliens came, the day traitors vanished, the day humanity proved it could not be broken. On the Endurance, Robert stood at the viewport. Stars stretched forever. What now, Captain? Robert smiled small. We keep going, explore, build, stay together. She nodded. And if someone tries to divide us again? Robert looked out at the endless black. Then they disappear. The ship moved forward, steady, strong. Behind them, the galaxy whispered. Humans had won, not with the biggest guns, not with the fastest ships, with something simpler. They had refused to break, and the ones who tried to make them break disappeared. Years passed after the aliens left. The galaxy grew quieter. No more Krell warships in human space. No more Vorath shards hiding in asteroid belts. Borders stayed calm. Trade ships moved freely again. People rebuilt what was broken. They planted new fields. They raised new children. They looked at the stars without fear. John Smith lived in a small house on the edge of New Washington. The dome overhead let in real sunlight now. Clear panels replaced the old cloudy ones. He was older. Gray touched his hair. Lines marked his face from years of hard choices. But his eyes stayed sharp. He spent mornings in a garden he planted himself. Simple things. Tomatoes, beans, flowers that reminded him of old Earth pictures. Neighbors waved as they walked by. Children sometimes stopped to ask questions. One afternoon, a boy named Daniel ran up to the fence. He was 8, with messy brown hair and bright eyes. "Mr. Smith?" Daniel asked. "Is it true you talk to aliens?" John smiled and wiped dirt from his hands. "Yes, a long time ago." Daniel climbed the low fence and sat on the grass. "My teacher said you made them go away. She said you were brave." John sat beside him. "It wasn't just me. It was all of us. Everyone who chose to stay together." Daniel looked up at the dome stars starting to show in the evening light. "Why are the stars safer now?" John thought for a moment. He picked a small red tomato and handed it to the boy. "Because we stood together," he said simply. "When people try to break us apart, for money, for power, for fear, something stops them. They disappear. Not because we hunt them, because humanity does not let itself be torn." Daniel bit into the tomato. Juice ran down his chin. "Like a family? If someone tries to hurt the family, they can't stay?" John nodded. "Something like that. A very big family. Across all the stars." Daniel wiped his mouth. "Will it happen again?" John looked far away. "Maybe, if someone forgets. But I think we remember now." The boy ran off to play. John watched him go. He felt peace, real peace, the kind that comes after a long storm. On the bridge of the new exploration ship Horizon, Captain Robert Johnson stood with hands behind his back. The ship was bigger than the Endurance had been, cleaner lines, stronger engines, a crew of 300, all volunteers. Robert was 45 now, still strong, still quiet. He watched the forward viewports as the ship jumped toward a new system no human had seen before. Karen Lee stood beside him. She had stayed with him all these years. Now she was his second in command. "First scans coming in," she said. "Green world. Oxygen. Water. No signals. Empty." Robert smiled small. "Good. Room to grow." A young officer called from navigation. "Captain. Message from Earth. It's Dr. Davis." Robert opened the channel. Elizabeth's face appeared. She looked well. Her red hair had some silver now, but her smile was the same. "Robert," she said, "how's the new ship?" "Smooth," he answered. "We're about to claim a new home." Elizabeth nodded. "I finished my report. The safeguard. I studied every case, from old Earth wars to the alien invasion. It's the same pattern. No machine, no secret group, just us, connected, minds linked in ways we don't understand yet. When the whole feels threatened by a part, that part is removed. Clean, instant, like a body rejecting poison." Robert listened quiet. Elizabeth continued. "It's not magic. It's evolution. Humanity survived because we learned to trust each other, to punish betrayal, fast and forever. Over thousands of years, that became something real, something that acts on its own." Robert looked out at the approaching planet. White clouds, green land. "So our greatest weapon," he said, "is ourselves." Elizabeth smiled. "Yes, and it's always there, quiet until needed." The channel closed. Robert turned to the crew. "Prepare landing teams," he said. "This world is ours, but we take it careful. We build it right." The crew moved with purpose. No rush, no fear. On a security station near the old border, Laura Johnson sat at her desk. She led the whole Outer Rim security now. Screens showed peaceful traffic, cargo ships, passenger liners, exploration probes. She pulled up an old file, the list of vanishings from the war years, names, dates, empty after empty. She added a new note at the bottom. "No incidents in 5 years, pattern stable, threat level minimal." She closed the file. Then she stood and walked to the viewport. Stars stretched out forever. A junior officer walked up. "Ma'am, new recruits coming in tomorrow. Want to speak to them." Laura nodded. "Yes, I'll tell them the truth." The next day she stood before 50 new faces. Young, eager, some nervous. She spoke clear. "You join security because you want to protect people. Good. But remember this. Our biggest protection is not guns or shields. It's each other. When someone tries to sell us out, they don't last. Not because we catch them. Because something deeper catches them. It has always been that way. It will always be that way." The recruits listened. Some looked surprised. Some looked proud. Laura finished. "So do your job. Stay honest, stay loyal. The rest takes care of itself." They nodded. One raised a hand. "Ma'am, what do we call it? The thing that makes them disappear." Laura thought for a second. "We call it humanity," she said. "That's enough." Back on Earth, John Smith grew older still, but he still walked every day. One evening he sat on his porch. The sky darkened. Stars came out, one by one. A woman approached, his daughter, now grown. She carried a small child in her arms. "Dad," she said, "look who wanted to meet you." The child, a girl with John's blue eyes, reached out. John took her gently. She laughed, a small, happy sound. He held her close. "Hello, little one." The girl pointed at the stars. "Pretty." John nodded. "They are, and they're safe because people like you will keep them that way." He looked up. The galaxy waited, wide, open, full of promise. Somewhere out there, other species watched from far away. They told stories around their own fires. "Beware the humans," they said. "They grow fast. They fight hard. But worst of all, they stay together. Challenge them, and some among them disappear." Just gone. The listeners shivered. And in the quiet night, on a small porch under a dome of stars, an old man smiled. He had seen it all. He had lived it. And he knew the simple truth. Those who defied mankind disappeared, not by hate, not by revenge, by the quiet, unbreakable will of a species that refused to fall apart. Humanity endured, and the stars belonged to those who stood as one.